a few weeks ago, I was able to give a lesson on Proverbs at church. And I went over the importance of Proverbs and how to read Proverbs. And we also covered verses 1 through 7. And since then, I've really been thinking a lot about how important Proverbs is right now and how important it is to just get into God's Word and really see what He has for us and how to make those wise decisions for our lives, especially in such an uncertain and ever-changing world that we have today. And so today I want to go into verses 8 through 19, and we'll just take some time. Also, in the description below, I will be including the link for the teaching that I had previously done on verses 1 through 7. It is a little bit longer, but these aren't going to be very long at all that I'm going to do on the rest of the book. So verses 8 through 19, it starts out in verses 8 and 9, and it says, "Hear, my son, your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. Indeed, they are a graceful wreath to your head." So when I read Proverbs, I always look and see how what it says applies directly to my life and what I can get from it that I can use in my day-to-day life. And so for these, something that I think is going to be very important for all of us is it talks about how the son should hear their father and mother's instruction and teaching. And our kids today, they can't hear that teaching if we aren't teaching it to them. So as parents and as grandparents, if we don't give them that teaching, then how can we expect them to learn? And I see that a lot in my classroom as well, that I have expectations for students, but I'm starting to see that a lot of them have not been taught some of these simple things that we take for granted. And so it's very important that we do teach our children. When it says they are a graceful wreath to your head, that means that you're going to be adorned with wisdom. And I think in this day and age, we also put a lot into how we look, but sometimes we don't think about how much wisdom and being wise also makes us look. And I would much rather be seen as someone wise than as someone who is not wise. Verses 10 through 14. "My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent. If they say, 'Come with us, let us lie in wait for blood. Let us ambush the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them alive like Sheol, even whole, as those who go down the pit. We shall find all kinds of precious wealth. We shall fill our houses with spoil, and throw in your lot with us. We shall all have one purse.'" Well, this really shows some of the teachings that we should give our kids, is that it's very important the people that you choose to have as your friends, because the people that you have in your life, even as a young adult, a child, and even an adult, they have a very powerful influence in our life. But one of the things we should notice is in verse 11, it says, "Come with us." And so anytime something is trying to pull us down a path, whether good or bad, there's a pull of companionship. And so they are offering companionship. That's how they start this out. So this kid, however young the son is that they're talking about, being offered companionship at first, and then they go into what their plans are for people. And then if you look at verse 13, all kinds of precious wealth, then they bring in the enticement and the seduction. It's, "Come be with us. We will give each other companionship and what we all need, and we're going to get a lot of money in the process." And so the people that we put in our lives have a very powerful impact on what we do. Verses 15 through 19. "My son, do not walk in the way with them. Keep your feet from their path, for their feet run to evil, and they hasten to shed blood. Indeed, it is useless to spread the net in the eyes of any bird, but they lie in wait for their own blood. They ambush their own lives. So are the ways of everyone who gains by violence. It takes away the life of its possessors. What we see in verse 15, it says, "My son, do not walk in the way of them." And so that means that he has a choice. And so it's a choice to either follow the things that we know are wrong, or a choice to stay away from the wicked and all their plotting. Being good and being wise doesn't just happen. We still have to make those choices. And we also see here that verse 17, "Indeed, it is useless to spread the net in the eyes of any bird." They don't, even those who are plotting, don't see the connection between hastening to shed blood. And then down in verse 19, where it says, "So are the ways of everyone who gains by violence. It takes away the life of its possessors." So they don't see the connection between the lifestyle they are choosing and the outcome of their life, and how they are losing their life. So they think they're gaining all of this wealth, but really what they are doing is they are losing their life. And unfortunately, what a lot of people see today is that people are getting ahead, and what they feel is getting ahead by being ungodly and following ungodly ways. But we need to remember and to stress to those that are underneath our teaching that it does lead to a path of violence and losing your life. And when you are wise, and that's kind of the importance of studying Proverbs, when we are wise, we can see the trap and we can see what's coming ahead. The more we study these verses, the more we can almost predict and see into the future, because we understand the principles of life. We understand that if this happens, or if I do this, this is going to be the outcome. And so that's going to be our main purpose in studying Proverbs. And so what we should get out of this is we need to teach those who are underneath our teaching, or underneath our ears. And then we should also follow God and His Word. How can you teach those who are under you if you don't know it yourself? And that it is a choice. And then there are also 3 scriptures that I would like for you to look at a later point when you have time. And that is 1 Timothy 6:10. Matthew 2:36, and Revelation 20, verse 13. And those kind of go along with what we've talked about today. But I hope you've enjoyed looking into the scriptures a little bit deeper and taking the time to see what God's word really has for us to say. And these aren't going to be very long at all, about 10 minutes each. And so I hope we can enjoy spending time together in God's word, and I hope that you enjoy your day.